Good evening, Kulumbai. So thank you. So now we have very important theme, that is child right and child protection, which is though the most important topic that need to be discussed, but least discussed, least bothered by each one of us, including the government, the administration, the civil society. So I hope this session will be a helpful one, and we have quite a few of experts who are working in this field. They will be presenting papers. So I would like to call them on the stage. Dr. Harcharan Singh will be speaking on right to education for child labor and street children. Dr. Harcharan Singh is the Assistant Professor, HRM College of Education, Bazatana, Faridkot, Punjab University. Sir, please come on the stage. Next, we have. I would like the organizer to finish facilitating with. Okay. Second, we have Professor Pralip Kumar Najari. He is Professor Department of Geography, Kottayam University. Please, sir, please come on the dais. And we have Dr. Samrat Singha. He is a Professor General School of International Affairs, Haryana. I think he's not present here. So we have another guest, Mr. Jobil Musahari and Mr. Robin Kujur. They are from BTR UNICEF program, BTR government. So please come. Now, I would like to request our organizer to please facilitate our guest on the dais. You come, Okay. I didn't understand. So we have a little change in the program. So now, shall we start the program, sir? Okay. So I would like to request Dr. Harcharan Singh to please deliver his deliberation. Please, sir. I'll give you the mic.
Well, well,
Hello, hello.
what the teachers, delegates, what the teachers, delegates, students, and all the participants. A very good evening to all of you. Uh, Topic of my search paper is a right to education for child labor and street children. According to Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Like right to education, right of children to free and compulsory education act, Parliament of India enacted on 4th of August 2009, presidential and centered on 26th August of 2009, came fully into force on 1st April of 2010. India became one of 35 countries to make education a fundamental right on 1st April 2010. Recent years have seen a rapidly expanding literature on child labor. Most of the study examine its causes, while research focus on the impact of child labor on educational attainment has predominantly considered school enrollment, attendance, or grade attainment. Findings are mixed, like Bilal Ahmad Bhatt, World Day Against Child Labor. The World Day Against Child Labor is an international labor organization sanctioned holiday first launched in 2002 aiming to raise awareness and activism to prevent child labor. The World Day Against Child Labor, which is held every year on June 20th, is intended to foster the worldwide movement against child labor in any of its forms. According to ILO data, hundreds of millions of girls and boys throughout the world are involved in work that deprives them from receiving education, health, leisure, and basic freedom, violating this with their rights. The World Day Against Child Labor provides an opportunity to gain further support of individual governments and local authorities as well as that of the ILO social partners, civil society, and others in the campaign to tackle child labor. International Day for Street Children. The first International Day for Street Children was launched at a reception at the National Theatre on April 20th, 2011. Now the day provides a platform for the millions of street children around the world to speak out their so that their rights can't be ignored. Right to education for child labor and street children. Education is the fundamental human right. In country like India, it is very difficult to achieve education for all. Education scenario of India reveals that in spite of a network of 6.5 lakh of school and colleges and the employment of over 3 million teachers, we have not been able to achieve universal education. Child labor and street children both can considered be one of the most deprived section of the society. Poverty forces many children to drop out of the school since it is mandatory for on the part of the state to educate them. There needs to be some provision for their education. The government has done a lot in this direction. Still, a lot is yet to be done. So the present paper is an effort to provide some solution for the ensuring the right to education of these children. Child labor is the practice of having children engaged in economic activity on part of full-time basis. The practice deprives children of their childhood and is harmful to their physical and mental development. Poverty, lack of good schools, and growth of the informal economy are considered the important causes of child labor in India. The 2009-2010 national-wide survey found child labor prevalence had reduced to 4.9 million children, or less than 2% of the children in the age group 5 to 14. The 2011 National Census of India found the total number of child labor aged 5 to 14 to be at 4.35 million and the total child population to be 259.64 million in that age group. The child labor problem is not unique to India. Worldwide, about 217 million children work, many full time. Street children. A street children in India is someone for whom the state in the widest sense of the word, including unoccupied dwellings, wasteland, etc., has become his or habitual abode or source of livelihood and who is inadequate, protected, supervised, or directed by responsible adults. It is estimated that more than 4 lakh street children in India exist, mainly because of family conflict. They come to live on the street and take on the full responsibility of caring for themselves, including working to provide for and protect themselves. Though street children do sometimes band together for great security, they are often exploited by employers and the police. These are some captions of street children. Right to education in India. India has been trying to uphold the status of education for many years. However, due to poor educational infrastructure, social segregation, and non-conducive economic conditions, maximum learners are deprived of education. It is well known fact that education is one of the most critical aspects of development of a country. There is a direct relationship between education and development of the nation. The Dhaka Framework for Action Education for All 2000 reiterates that education is a fundamental human right. It is the key to sustainable development and peace and stability within and among countries and thus an indispensable means for effective participation in the society and economies of 21st century. One of the main problems in failing the target achievement is the financial handicap of the government. The expenditure on education in India, according to the recommendation of the Kothari Commission 1964-66, was to spend 6% of the GDP. But still, after 7 years, we are moving around the figure of 3% only. 78% of the education was budget invested in teachers and management costs, with students receiving a mere of 6% of the total investment. The economic survey 2020-2023 of this week shows that While student enrollment is higher, school level infrastructure is better. There are more teachers to boot. The total expenditure combined states and center on education as a percentage of GDP had stayed stagnant at 2.9% since 2009 19 and is only marginally up from 2.8% in FY16. Reasons of dropout in elementary education. Dropout is influenced by a series of independent factors, namely school environment, socio-economic condition, socio-psychological factors, prevalence of child labor, negative attitude of parents towards education, and the need to earn livelihood at an early stage of life among the disadvantaged children, like poverty, which forces parents to engage their children in work rather than in schooling, lack of parental support and motivation due to low education among them, early marriage of girls among several communities, utilizing girls for household work and sibling care, distance of school from the habitation, inadequate infrastructure and overcrowded classrooms, lack of drinking water facility, teacher teaching multiple classes same time resulting in a lack of individual attention. Recently, the Nagpur bench of the Bombay High Court asked the Maharashtra government a simple question: how was to state children going to get their right to education? The question is simple, but the problem is very complex. UNICEF study estimated the number of children in India is at 11 million. Since then, many more have joined this unhappy group. A majority of them are in the age of group of 16 to 15, hitting exactly into the age bracket 16 to 14. The for home education is a fundamental right since 1st April 2010. The majority of state children in India are boys and little or no education. Another problem is child labor. After its independence from colonial rule, India has passed a number of constitutional protection and laws on child labor. The Constitution of India in the Fundamental Rights and the Directive of State Policy prohibits child labor below the age of 14 years in any factory or mine or cash or engaged in any hazardous employment. Article 24. The Constitution also invites that India shall be by 1960 provide infrastructure and resources for free and compulsory education for all children of the age group up to 16-year age. The Factory Act of 1948. The act prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 years in any factory. The law also placed rules on who, when, and how long can pre-adult aged 15 to 18 years be employed in any factory. Under Article 24, no child below the age of 14 shall be employed in any factory or mine or be engaged in any other hazardous employment. The Mine Act of 1952. The act prohibits the employment of children below 18 years of age in a mine. Like similar act like the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986, the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act of 2000. Under Article 39, the state shall direct its policy toward securing that the tender is of children is not abused and that citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter a vocation unsuited to their age or strength, that children are given opportunity and facilities. Section 12 of India's Child Labor Act of 1986 requires prominent display of child labor is prohibited sign in many industries and construction sites in local language and English. Besides all that, India has dubious distinction of having the world's largest force of child labor, despite constitutional provisions and the various acts that emanated from them. There are many problems in the implementation and monitoring of the preventing framework of law that regulate the child labor market in the country. situations for the education of child labor and street children. Formation of a nodal agency to converse various activities related to rehabilitation and education program for street and working children by the center and the state. The government, local authorities, civil society, NGO should work together and converge action and program of various ministries such as Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, National Literacy Mission, National Child Labor Projects, and Program for Street and District Children. UNESCO has a lead agency must facilitate the strengthening of national effort to achieve that better framework of action. The Government of India, in consultation with civil society and NGOs, must formulate a national plan of action incorporating details of program for achieving education for all. The Labour Department should continue to be responsible for rescuing child laborers. Accountability of NGOs and regular monitoring of activities must be made an integral component of funding for educational program under various government schemes. Partnership with local authorities and private enterprises should be strengthened to provide vocational skills to the children. Job placement of trained children can also be explored with the help of private enterprises. Regular studies should be conducted, especially in rural areas, to enrich the database for arriving at a meaningful generalization. Support from national and international agencies may be sought for conducting such research studies. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Should we first take a question or should we finish? Finish. Okay. So now I would like to invite Professor Pranab Kumar Narjari. He will be speaking on scenario of child population and child protection institution in Bodoland Territorial Region. Please, sir.
Wah, kita boleh lihat. Bayang ba? Jobolously jiregal na question na jiregal. By force or by choice? Both. Okay. Anyway, good. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I understand your situation. I hope you also understand my situation. Yeah? Anyway, so, respected chairperson of the session, other panelists on the dais, my dear colleagues, and my dear student friends. I would like to present a bit about the scenario of child population and child protection institutions in India. And this work is the outcome of a project which has been collectively done among three organizations, that is NERSON, Modern University, Naren Foundation, and with full support from BTR government. Yeah, please move. Please. Oh, this is working. Yeah, so every discipline has its own definition. Even child or children, the definition varies. But here, whom we call as children? It is anyone below the age of 18. That person is considered as a child. Then we understand that they are the future citizens. But what happens? They are very prone to all kind of difficult situations. So they need protection, and we need to ensure their safety. If we see the basic scenario or the basic statistics, we find that about 38% of population in Assam belongs to the age group below the age of 18. And sex ratio is 952 out of 1000 male population. And if we see the sex pyramid of BTR, of course this data is slightly old, but we have no other option because the latest census is yet to be conducted. We can see that, as I have already mentioned, about 39% of the population belong to child age group. And it means that if we look at it from the other side, we have lots of opportunities. If this population is tapped properly, we can harvest a great demographic dividends out of this child population. But for that, what we'll have to do, we'll have to ensure them safety and provide them knowledge, skill, and health. Actually, what happens, even if we have the large population, but if they are not of good quality, then what happens? For example, just I'll take an example. If you see Olympic, how many medals do India get? Hardly, gold medal, hardly how many? 2, 3, not more than that in one Olympic. But if you compare other small countries, even England, they are capable of claiming so many gold medals. So here comes the new concept of human resource. If we look at the, I'll try to, I don't want to make you too much, I don't want to bore you more, so I'll just try to go a little fast. Otherwise, I was thinking of speaking some more, but the time is already too late. Yeah. If you look at the education scenario, I think I'll skip this. I'll just, in education, I'll talk about only one or two things. Yeah, this is the one I wanted to talk. If you look at the data, the pupil-teacher ratio, what happens as per the recommendation of right to education, you find that we have very good pupil-teacher ratio. If you look at that green line, you see that all are either means all we can say that is below 25. It means we have very good pupil-teacher ratio. You look at the data. Our teacher is handling only even less than 10 students. It means what? It is very good sign. A teacher is handling only, 8 students, but it is concealing the real fact. Why? You take an example. In primary school, there are suppose, recently I went to one school. They have 8 students. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 8 students, so good. Only one teacher has only 8 students. But fact is what? In primary school, there are at least 5 classes multiplied by minimum of 4 subjects: maths, science, first language, second language. Forget about other social science, whatever. Then 4 is 5. How much? 20. Can a teacher teach 20 subjects in a day? Never. This is where the fact is concealing, where the government has to think about. Of course, I don't think anybody from government side. Yeah. That is again another hard fact of life. No? Yeah. Of course, I have passed on or I have spoken in a right platform earlier regarding this matter. Yeah. School dropout is again another issue. If you see the school dropout at the primary and lower primary level, upper primary level is quite fine, not much dropout. But as we go to secondary level, dropout is pretty high. And in October 2023, this year, there was a news, and this I confirmed with the Director of Education as well, that about 14,000 children dropped out of school in this current academic year itself. It means that the scenario is really very bad. We are thinking of building a very good BTR, peaceful, smart BTR. But if education is the one which we have to really think about. Otherwise, if education system collapses, the society completely collapse. You can wait for economic development. You can wait for other social sector to change, but we cannot wait for education sector. So we need to really think about it. Yeah. Another issue is about the high school living certificate examination. This result, of course, you won't find the format we have put here. Usually, you get the result in district wise. We collected data from SEVA directly to analyze it. That's why we have this result. You find that Masbat, Sydney Siram, and Boro Bazar, the percentage of pass, forget about the first division. I'm talking only about the pass percentage. Hardly one third of them are passing. Then what about the remaining? It means many a times, if they are dropped out of, they fail in matric exam, then what they do? They just go around. They don't have to go to school. Either they fall trap to child labor, or they fall trap to trafficking, or maybe the child marriage, all sorts of problems comes in. Actually, what happens? So long as the child is within the education system works as a safety net. Yeah, this is. I want to talk much about this. I think. Yeah, this I want to talk. Another one. The reasons for not attending school. Of course, these different sources may give different reasons, but this we have directly analyzed from NFHS, National Family Health Survey data, 2019-21, the latest one. And this doesn't allow us to analyze at the district level. So we have taken it picture as a whole. So what it says that the main reason for not attending school is not interested in studies. It means what? Kanya problem doang makasyaw. So that they get little bit of test, no? Otherwise, English बहुत खट्टा होता है. I don't know. You don't get a real test. If you speak in mother tongue, you always get much better test. Yeah. Anyway, I got mixed now. 41% of them they are not attending school because they are not interested. It means what? Baba mesti wrong. Baba mesti problem dong education system. Either school are attractive nonga, nonga pla lekhal ni baba pura leknai pura interesting nonga, school pura jila jitha, master pura puya. That kind of problems are there. That's why you see that lots of students drops out of school. And child labor is another pertinent problem. I'll not deal much. I'll just try to this one. Child labor is again another issue. You'll see that among Boro Kosari population, the children or women who are below the age of 15, 1% of them get married. Even the child who are between 15 to 90 years, as high as 18% of them get married. It means the scenario is very bad. We don't expect the girls to marry as so early, or the boy, either way. This is the time to get education, build a career. But even they are burdened with child, you just see at the top 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It means some of them have even 4 children or more. It means what? They are extremely burdened with reproduction. Nothing to think about production. Only reproduction. This I will skip. I'll try to go a little bit. Yeah. Even here you can see that cases recorded in BTR during January to June 2022. This data is primary data collected by Neden Foundation, our collaborating team. Here also, child marriage is one of the biggest problems. You can see this green bar. In Kokrajhar, we have above 90 number of cases in just 6 months of time. Then human resources, actually what happens to provide safety to children and ensure their human rights, we have different human, human child protection institutions. And what is the scenario of human resources in those child protection institutions? You can see that many of the child protection institutions they do not have full human resources. So government should think about filling up those posts as early as possible, as immediately as possible. If we go to the observations, one is that data at different levels, mostly at district level, they are in different shape, size, and also structures, very difficult to analyze. And different design, time period, purposes are also very different. Log level estimates are very difficult because samples are so small, and some of the data we don't have full access. We have very limited access. Even after lots of trial effort from our program management unit, we could not access some of the data. Hopefully in next round we'll be able to get them. And issues if we see child marriage, school dropout are some of the things. And if we look at the way forward, what I feel is that we need to think about certain things like the pass percentage of HSLC. Immediately we should think about reducing this to minimum level. I mean the failure rate. Then maybe midterm we can think about that no one fails in metric. And why metric I'm talking about? Why not graduation? Why not about master degree? आप लोग तो master degree पढ़ाई कर रहा है, लेकिन why I'm not talking about you? I'm talking about metric because this is the first board exam the students are writing, and this is the gateway, first gateway. I'll tell you my example. Am I getting? Okay. I'll give my simple example. I was too poor in mathematics, so I was always scared of metric exam. कौन है मेरा son? Okay, I'm so happy. I had so many friends. They are also. So I was so scared that I may not get through metric exam mainly because of mathematics. English थोड़ा बहुत manage हो जाता है. Other subjects somehow manageable. Maths तो नहीं होता है. So, but somehow I could clear with grace mark. If during our time we had some grace mark. So if I would have got stuck in metric, now I would have been somewhere else. Because I would have been falling trap to either maybe child labor, these and all kinds of problems. Somehow luckily metric pass हो गया, so after that I don't have to study mathematics, which is like a khatta subject for me. No? Totally against it. Anyway, yeah, totally against it. So that's why metric is very, very crucial exam. And this is a gateway for going to other studies. Once you get to metric, mathematics लग मारो, science लग मारो, अपना subject में जाओ जिसमें you're confident. So no more problem. Yeah, many people are there who are doing so well after metric. मेरा metric में third division है. I got just 33%. Mathematics failed. What is it? Yeah, I'm talking about the fact. If you wish, you can. If you want to see, you can come to my office. I'll show you personally. But after that, since I did not have to study mathematics, it was fine. I did not very well, but I did well. And now I'm here standing in front of you. Yeah. Anyway. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful joyous deliberation. Now we have the last presentation. We have two presentations at one go.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, respected panelists, students and colleagues and who have come to listen. I will not be taking much time. I will speak maybe hardly about 3 minutes. I will just introduce, wanted to talk a little, maybe about 10 minutes, but I think I can see the crowd's energy level as well. So accordingly, I will focus. What I will do is I will just run through, since we represent the government as well, though we are in partnership with UNICEF and this is a government initiative. So we need to look at what is the purpose of having this PMU and why child protection education related to child rights. Yeah, so that's the thing that I will be speaking. Uh, Nothing much will be there on the presentation. That's just for you to focus, but I will see. We will look at in three scenario, maybe what happened before, you know, while in movements and then post movements with the new accord. What are the new thrust area that the government had focused, and you will have to use your imagination a little, because I will use certain words and those words would divert and look at, you know, how they are trying to penetrate and reach to the larger mass. Yeah, and post that my colleague will present the finding on the quality education that we have done a small study. And most of the things that I am supposed to speak, we in fact have a coordination. Dr. Prolip has done all the statistical part of it, and I will do the just the introduction of the UNICEF. Okay, so BTI UNICEF basically was initiated by our government in 2021, and now we have the office in Secretariat. We all know the map very well, right? So we are at the you can just have a look at the map, and I don't need to go into that. So we all know, and what is the statistics? Dr. Prolip has just presented as well, the statistical aspects of it. You know, and we had that troubled time when we had to assert many things of what we needed. So during that protracted movement, you know, a lot of physical as well as psychological, social, cultural, emotional, and then even the relational aspects, and then even the spiritual dimension of people were affected. Uh, and now you deviate your thoughts and imaginations, how that also affect the children. Okay, so I give to your imagination on that as well. And so that also has created a lot of problem with the groups, communities. Yeah, the negative experiences of the people continues even today, and then we can see that also not only affect the people, but also even the institutions and then the service deliveries as well. You know, so that's the reason maybe we are not able to reach to the level what maybe Dr. Prolip and our friend from Punjab University has presented. Right? So now, what did the third accord, the 2020 accord, ushered in? So that's something that we need to focus. And from there, you can link up where and why this BTR PMU, why so much of initiative on the social development of BTR by this government, right? Uh, so we are trying to look at the new possibility of fostering all-round development and progress in the Northeast. That's what we are hearing from the different panelists. By means of this accord, we wanted also to look at the socio-cultural progress, the economic aspects, the development aspirations of all the communities in the BTR, and to address the other, while addressing the political settlements of the Bodos, we are also trying to carry forward the agenda of establishing peace and stabilities within Northeast. Yeah, so that's about the accord, and then the accord also provides for strengthening the well-being, the education, health, and then the financial systems as well. And even on the agriculture development, maybe if you have been part of the recent event that had happened at Secretariat, you might have seen a lot of the number that's being presented by the different departments, or the strides that we are taking in. And then the promotion of the livelihood, and then the skill building, and then even the budgeted expenditures and all that. So this is the structure of the PMU. It's headed by our Honorable Chief Sir himself, and then the Principal Secretary, and then the Nodal Officer, and then we work with partnership, including the Borderland University. Yeah, so that's the structure. So I will not go into this aspect because this cannot make so much. So, but this is the mandate of the PMU, what we are supposed to deliver. Now, as UNICEF uses the term child protection is to refer basically to prevent, this is what we need to focus here, to preventing as well as to responding to violence, exploitations, abuse against children, including commercial sex, sexual exploitations, trafficking, child labor, harmful traditional practices, all these things that we have been hearing from the previous panelists as well, and then also building a protection environment for children that will help prevent and respond to violence, abuse, and exploitation is the thrust area of child protection in our current effort. Okay. With regard to child protection institutions, Dr. Pradeep has just shared the scenario. Now, I will just focus a little on the facts, as Dr. Pradeep has presented. Nadan has done a little bit of fact finding where the data is, of just a matter of about 6 months, in that there were so many cases of, it's not only trafficking, it was even the sexual exploitations, abuse, and also many other malpractices with the children. So that has also triggered a kind of thought for the PMU as well as for the government, that that what are the way to address that, and then the mechanism that we need to evolve. So I will stop at here, and from that finding that itself tells us that it's not just sufficient to deliver the service, but it is also essential that we also empower the communities and then the people. So now I request my colleague Praveen to share his findings on the assessment studies that he has done.
Yes, indeed, we have moved far with regard to right to education, but there is a lot more miles to walk. Let's recall my schooling days when I started my school. Okay, just like Pradeep sir has said, how about 10th? I also just remembered how we started. We used to walk holding books with a leaf, right? Because we are scared the books will be torn. So we used to just pluck the big leaves from the roadside, put it there, and just walk. And now today, we see that we have reached far. A lot of infrastructure changes have happened. A lot of student kids have reached the school, and yet the expectations, the results are yet to be achieved. So I'm not going in detail about the numbers, as Pradeep sir has rightly said. I'll be going on reflections and observations. So if we look here, it will be more or less dropouts percentage still very high. Okay, and the reasons is that those districts that are made now are basically those regions that are underdeveloped, those regions that were neglected. So that's why we still find the factors that are still prevailing in our community. And the emphasis have been given only in the township areas, and yet the village areas are to be focused. Okay, so the need of additional teachers has been a constant problem. Okay, and not only that, it is also like uneven distribution of teachers. Uneven distribution as such, like we have more teachers in the township areas, and we have no or only one teacher in the far village. This is the scenario. So as citizens, as we are going forward to be leaders, this is a time for us to reflect. Reasons for dropout has been discussed lengthy. Okay, so I'm just going forward. Not aware of their career choice and require guide. Many of the children still find like what sir said, not interested in education, not interested in studies. This is precisely because we have no goals or motivation or the purpose for what we are studying. Okay, so also there is a system gap that has been found out. Okay, the gap where there are maximum is like infrastructure, still we have to work a lot. Then government role, okay, then we have a community role. Community in the sense, I will be sharing more on the reflection. And again, we have next is teachers are still loaded with a lot of admin works, wherein 33% still agree. Like yes, we are more involved in other works than teaching. Okay, so government innovations and initiatives. Okay, so right now we have come up with BTR education policy or draft has been made. MIU with UNDP has been there to achieve the SDG 4 goals, okay, by 2030. Then we have BTR UNICEF PMU has been formed. Then we have school adoption program. Then the rest. You can just go forward. Then the area where I want to discuss is, or to put a reflection on. Okay? We still have no parent or parent doesn't participate in education. The challenge is when parents are invited for any meeting, okay, they expect certain amount of daily wages to be given for them for the loss of the day. And the next is also if there is let's call a lunch has been arranged, a bounty has been given. Because the perspective of the community is as such, like government has a lot of budget, okay, and the reality is the other way. The second challenge I want to put, the reflection, sorry, not the challenge, the reflection I want to put is secondary students or teachers feel like primary, they have not got the FLN, the foundation. So how can we teach in the secondary? So this ball game has been going on, and there is like how far and how long do we go on thinking about this? It was the responsibility of the secondary for which the primary sorry, it was the responsibility of the primary for which the secondary is not able to achieve. If we go on this, I guess we will be still far behind. The next I want to put a reflection on is, as soon as the private schools are provincialized, the performance, the results of the schools become lesser and lesser. Though all the facilities are being provided, but the performance and results go downhill. Next reflection I want to put is regarding female education in particular. When in a family there are two girl child, if they are born first and second, it is there the family will give them in the private schools. And next, if the boy child is born on the third number, you will be noticed that the girls will be withdrawn from the school and the boy will be given sent to the private school. And this is still happening even today. So it is for us as the leaders of the community to reflect upon and to intervene and to support the community from today onwards. So these are the few of the highlights I wanted to put. Thank you for the patience listening, and I thank BTR Fellows for the support in my assessment, and wishing you all the best, and thank you for patient listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your, Mr. Zobil Musahari and Robin Kuzul for your deliberation on the topic child rights and protection. So, should we take question? Is there any questions from the audience? If anyone has a question dong ba? Question dong go. Yang baik? No. Okay. Language no ba?
Thank you to all the presenters. It was pleasant to hear all the data and the statistics that were shown to us. I, as a teacher, would like to know why, despite having so much of statistics and reports submitted by the government, yet we do not see any change at the grassroots level. Now, why I'm saying this? Because as a part of a member of the team who went for Gunotsav duty, which has been happening since last 3 years. Even certain things which were mentioned in the slides, we cannot see the members of the school, the teachers, neither the principals, to be aware of those schemes or whatever programs are available. So I would like to know from all the presenters, where are we lacking? Where is the failure?
Problem is, yes, what you are asking is absolutely correct. But I also don't have answer for that question. Actually, what happens? Yes, we can dig in, but sometimes poor na hansi jawa jibu agar berjalan sana. Jibu agar berjalan sana. Tapi kayaknya makasih kita go. We have to live it academically. So I have just tried to understand or assess the situation based on the secondary data, statistics, and I don't want to get into much into it. So I think Madam also would agree with me. Thank you so much for understanding. Yeah.
Ano bago naman? To this question, I would like to I think I need to add this one. I being a member of Child Welfare Committee, Kolkata District, what we feel or what I have seen personally is that what earlier I have said, this is the topic that is least bordered, though most important. Child rights is the most important topic, and it is being taken up by the government. But when it comes to execution in the grassroots level, no one bothers. Like I have seen the case of child marriage. In the child marriage, though the government has done, only very recently we see the arrest of so many illegal husbands. অবৈধ মানে হাজবেন্ড বলি কোৱা হৈছে, but since the last 3 years that I have been on this, being a member of the Child Welfare Committee, we have filed so many cases in regards to those people who are involved in a child marriage. Hardly, I believe, very few of them has been arrested. So, what I say is that had the government done their action in the right time, in the right manner, so many child marriage case, eloping case does not would have come out. But only recently the government, I think, they seems to have woken out from their slumber, their sleep. Now they seem to be saying that we have arrested so many. But what about the recently we have one case, this happened 5-6 months ago. She was forcefully married, a class 10 girl. She was forcefully married. We had registered a case. She has given her statement before the honorable court. Still, that fellow, so-called illegal husband, her mother, her family member who forced us into marriage, they will not be arrested. So this is the condition that we are having. So there's all the things that comes with the picture. How, when it comes to execution in regard to the child, nobody bothers. Though we should talk. And here I would like to request our audience, if there is any case related to child, please remember the number 1098. 1098, this is the childline number. If you find any child related to child, any case, please call up this number. The volunteers from the child rights, childline, they will be there along with the police, along with the child welfare committee. They will rescue and they will do whatever there is need to be done. So, any more question?
Hello, everyone, sir. I'd like to know about school adoption from the sir, and like processes, and if small are like us, can we adopt school or
Question.
See, what do you understand when you say adoption? It's basically that you are trying to get involved as a conscious civil society members, right? So this is not restricted just to some corporates adopting, or some institutions giving support. It could be anybody. Why we have to go into that move is because the system that we have